Nice. Good evening and salutations. I hope you are safe. I hope you are sanitizing. I hope you're maintaining a good social distance. I hope you're also wearing your mask. We are not wearing our mask for obvious reasons that we are going to speak for quite a long time. Today we are back again on our 5-part series on sexual and gender-based violence. We are streaming live from Namada Center at FLEP offices. I'm here with Irene Mukudi. She's going to introduce herself and let us find out more on what she does and what the organization does in terms of sexual and gender-based violence. Karibu to the show.
Thank you, Nana.
Yes.
My name is Irene Mukudi. I'm a Senior Child Protection Officer at FLEP. Apart from that, I'm a mother and a wife, a mother of 3. My journey of education, I went to school down in Budalangi, that's where I come from. Then in my secondary education, I did in Luanya Girls High School. Then after some period of time, I proceeded on to Kenya Institute of Social Work and Community Development, and currently just enrolled for a bachelor's degree in JUST, Jaramogi Oginga Odinga. I'm pursuing counseling psychology.
Nice.
Yeah. So my passion, my journey to this career, actually I just had a passion to work with the community, to change lives and to see people go through, travel with people through their journeys of life. And I started as a volunteer in this very organization back in 2016. Sorry, in 2011. In 2011, yeah. And I volunteered in a OVC project that was doing orphans and vulnerable children. And during that time, we actually did not have funds. So most of us were working as volunteers under Afia Plus Consortium. So it is during that time that I had also just joined college and I was graduating. So when I came back, I continued volunteering. I volunteered for a period of at least 6 years. Yeah, before now I got into employment by World Vision. World Vision was my first employer. I worked for World Vision until last year when I came back home again. And this project, which I'm implementing currently, the FCI, had just been born. And I saw a good opportunity to support people from my home. Yeah, basically that is how my journey has been. And during my work, I've done a lot of child protection. I did a number of reproductive health, which was targeting women. That was in Nyanza and Homa Bay. And Nyanza and Homa Bay. Then I came back again to children. So I just realized that my passion is with children.
It's with the children.
Yeah.
Okay, you've said the organization you work for here is called FLEP.
Yes.
Would you mind telling us what FLEP stands for and what the organization is all about?
Okay, thank you. FLEP is a faith-based organization born by the Catholic parish of Busia. For those who go to Catholic, understand we have these units, societies within the Catholic Church, like the Catholic women, the Catholic men. We also have family life education program. This particular unit in the Catholic Church, it actually works for ensuring that the families or the congregants, the families of the congregants, they grow in accordance to the Catholic faith, like practice natural family planning and just ensure that they are doing well in their spiritual life. So FLEP was actually a group of people who were selected in Busia Parish to spearhead the family life objectives of the church. But in 1995, there was a surge in HIV deaths. And you remember during that time we had a lot of stigma surrounding HIV
and also
and deaths. And there were no parts of today. People are not taking drugs, and you see, we started realizing a number of orphans being generated from these households that we were helping to do the family planning. So the objective of this team changed a bit, because now there was need to address issues surrounding HIV/AIDS.
Yes.
So it is during that time that we decided to go and register this group as a legal entity with the social services.
Okay.
Now to start venturing into ensuring now holistic approach to all issues affecting the households of our congregants.
Yes.
So that is when FLEP was registered as a legal entity and started looking for partners, started doing very, very aggressive resource mobilization.
Okay.
And thanks God, we started attracting partners, the FHIs, the AFIATUs, among others.
Okay.
So during that time, FLEP now concentrated on HIV management, care and support, and the orphans and vulnerable children affected and infected by the virus.
Okay.
So we started receiving donor funding, especially USAID has been our big donor since then. And these children now are being, during that time actually, the Ministry of Health was promoting home-based care for the HIV patients. So we did a lot of home-based care with our CHVs, and now when OVC project came in, we were advantaged because now we're able to bring on board all these families that were affected with their children. And up to date, we are still implementing OVC project, but I can say we've really grown because we are no longer working within Matayos, not within Burumba as we started, but we are now doing 3 sub-counties, that is Matayos, Nambale, and Samia. So last year, when we were implementing OVC with our partner who is still on board, the CRS, the Catholic Relief Services, through a project called Mwendo, we were identified as one of faith-based organizations that can implement Faith Communities Initiative, another project just implementing OVC, but now which is actually majoring in child protection. And we want to ensure that the faith communities understand their role in child protection, because you see, at the end of the day, this congregation, this population ends up in a faith institution.
Yes.
Maybe on Fridays, Saturdays, Sundays. And there is need for these faith leaders also now to start preaching, not only preaching about going to heaven, but ensuring that the children within their churches are protected, because of course they need a church tomorrow.
Yes.
So that is what we are implementing currently in 4 key areas. Education, ensuring education for the faith communities, and we've really targeted, we've reached up to 3,000 faith leaders. We are yet to reach all of them, just to sensitize them about sexual violence against children, their role, their response, and even action in the community. 2 is what we call, this is a new baby, and I'm actually very passionate about it, coaching boys into men. As you know, perpetration is mainly done by men.
Yes.
That's according to the statistics we have. So we are saying, just like in HIV where we do prevention with positives, we are preventing perpetration with boys. And we are targeting boys who are engaged in sporting activities. And these boys are of age 9 to 14. Why? Because these are children who are on transition stage. This is where they pick the good behaviors and the bad behaviors.
Yes.
So the coaches are capacity built to ensure that they deliver some series of 12 weeks to these boys to help them, 1, develop positive gender transformative behavior, 2, witnessing, we call them to develop positive bystander attitude. When they witness perpetration, what are they, how are they supposed to respond? And 3, to reduce relationship abuse. You can see, you understand we've had a number of relationship abuse among our boys and girls in schools, and in some instances we've even lost children in relationship. So those are the 3 major objectives of coaching boys into men, and we have a total of 41 teams within Busia County. That translates to 41 coaches trained in child protection and delivering the session. Activity 3 is child safeguarding. It is yet to commence. We want to help the faith-based institutions develop some standards and protocols when handling children within their institutions, because the church has not been left out. as far as sexual violence against children is concerned. We have issues with faith leaders, some are here in Corinda. Yeah, so we want them to develop some standards. Then lastly is engaging the justice system. And I think this is why I came in as a partner.
Yes.
We want the justice system to fast-track cases of gender-based violence, more so children cases.
Yes.
We want them to ensure that the environment at the court is child-friendly, like the issues of keeping child offenders in the same cells with adult offenders, you understand? We want them to have regular CUC review meetings, and in that case, FLEP is a member of Court Users Committee, where we sit and discuss matters justice, and for us, our biasness is for a child. Yeah. So, apart from that, we want also now the people working in the courts. We are now taking the magistrates out from the courtrooms to the public to do dialogues, to do sensitization, to talk with the people so that they understand that the court is not only meant for the offenders, but it is also friendly to other people. Yes. You can hear people grappling about the issues of bail and bond. They don't understand why somebody has been arrested and is out. So when we take this team out and explain to the population, it is very easy for them to understand why things are happening in the justice system. This week they are on radios talking about what they do, and especially during this COVID-19 season. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Irene. Like, you have basically just given us like an insight into what you do, and it's really commendable on what you do. For me, the most thing that has touched me is the coaching of boys into men, because as current as last evening, there was news of a 17-year-old girl that was found dead in Funyula, and the issue is just about the relationship thing, as you were saying, and that is such a commendable thing to do, because even while we were talking to the chief magistrate last week, she said, like, sometimes it is sad to her that she has to mete out convictions to boys that are still of school-going age, while the girl is allowed to give birth and go back to school, and that is such a great thing that you're doing. Now, to ask, for the sake of viewers, you've talked about these 41 teams where you're doing the coaching. So if there is a mama out there, a papa out there who'd wish to have her teenage boy of 9 to 14 years, how are they to join these teams? How are they to get information about this coaching that you're doing?
Okay. Thank you. I'm not going to mention all the teams, but these teams are spread across the county. And actually, I forgot to tell you that in December, we graduated 563 boys. We had undergone coaching boys into men. And we had quite a lot of insight from the parents. There was a lot of observations, good, positive observations in change of behavior and attitude towards girl, child, and women. But this is just a pilot. We are starting in a small way. That's why we have the 41 teams. Though we had trained more than 41, we had trained about 52, but we also experienced some challenges with the coaches. Some drop out, some are within the ages of searching for jobs, so they get some greener pastures and leave the voluntary work and go to work. But these teams, the stingy part of it is that the child must belong to that football team. So it's football per se, like only football. We have only one skating team within Busia. Yeah, but we want them in a sporting environment. Why? Basketball. If we are yet to get that, but we are open. Even if we get hockey, we get basketball and any other sporting activity for boys, we'll be able to bring them on board. The reason why we are working with a few teams is because we are just starting, we are piloting, we want to do a lot of learning, because actually we are just the first group in Kenya to implement coaching boys into men. So there is a lot of learning. It is more of a piloting than a full-fledged intervention or a full-fledged programming. So We are hoping to go wider, but we have very resource persons who can train coaches beyond this project.
Okay.
The one with whom we call advocates. Okay. We have an advocate in each sub-county. Okay. An advocate is more of a supervisor to a coach implementing. Okay. I think it is good to mention these advocates.
Are they advocates in the literal sense? Or?
No.
Okay.
They are advocates to coaching boys into men. They advocate for coaching boys into men. So they are also coaching.
I think it's good to mention them.
Yes. In Bunyala sub-county, we have one Williams Oduri. He's a child protection volunteer and an advocate at the same time and a faith leader. Okay. Is in a place called Runyu.
Runyu.
Yeah. Okay. Runyu is in Bunyala Mafuriko itself.
Okay.
Yeah. In Samia, we have Mwalimu Kenneth Ayenga. He's a Mwalimu he coaches from Namboboto. He's a classroom teacher, but very passionate about child protection within Namboboto area. Okay. Then in Matayos, we have Simon Maina. Simon Maina just stays around this office here, around Deity. That's the coach for Matayos. In Teso South, we have Silas Chiteri from Kwangamor. So people from Kwangamor know Silas very much. He's very passionate about children's office, children's affairs, and volunteers a lot in the children's office. In Teso North, we have Anthony Ijaka. Ijaka comes from Aboloi. He's also a young man and very passionate about issues of boys. Yeah. In Nambale, we have Joshua Oronda from Mungati. Mungati, we call it what? We call it Mungati football. He trains at the Mungati primary school. Okay. And then in Butula, we have Martin Makanda. Also training from within Elugulu. Okay. Yeah. So these people can do capacity building to coaches who are interested in delivering coaching boys into men sessions.
Okay. Viewers, I hope you've taken note of all the advocates that Mrs. Irene has mentioned. It is good to have your children at least be part of a team to undergo the coaching, because in the fight against sexual and gender-based violence, we see like most perpetrators, not even most, all perpetrators are basically boys, because if it's a male on male, it's still a male that is perpetrating the thing, and it's in rare cases that you find that somebody was raped by a woman. Yeah. Now, Irene, you've mentioned the justice system as part of your components at FLEP. So at what point do you now come in as auxiliary to the government?
Yes. When a case is reported, we have a structure of child protection volunteers in the community, a total of 56 child protection volunteers.
Throughout the county?
Throughout the county. Just the way we have CHVs for the health projects, we have child protection in the villages. And these child protection are working very closely with sub-county officers, with the police, with other partners implementing child-friendly programs, with the children's officer, the chiefs, etc. So once a report of sexual violence is reported to CPV, they don't actually report directly to Irene, who happens to be their supervisor or boss. They report to the children's office. Why? Because FLEP is not mandated nor authorized to carry out children services on behalf of the government. So we partner with the children's office and support where necessary. So whenever it is found that this child is not able to access medication to reasons which are obvious, transport, fear of reporting, etc. The CPV comes in and alerts the local children's office, who calls us, and we do M-Pesa to support that child access medication. Currently, we are experiencing quite a number of requests for laboratory tests, because the laboratories at our government institutions are not working. But I want to congratulate any sexual abuse case involving a child and even an adult. And to us, we really we really appreciate that partnership, because a CPV just needs to call the clinician and then it goes for examination. But again, now they have to send these people to a private laboratory. We come in and support the P3 form, and in terms of ensuring that this child has accessed medication and it is well documented with a PRC form. There is this form called PRC form.
Yeah,
many people are not very much
about it.
Yeah, many people are not very much aware of this, and sometimes for the fear of going to court every time, some practitioners suppress it.
Okay.
You understand? So that so that means the important documentation is left out, and at that point that case does not proceed. So this PRC form, the police ensures that there's a PRC form, and the P3 is well filled and signed, etc. For opens the file for the child. So we've had instances whereby cases have been dropped out.
Wanaiba file.
Hata sio kuiba file.
Wanaiba file ama kangaroo courts and stuff.
Not really. Kesi imeenda kotini. File iko sasa judiciary. But huyu mtu hana transport ya kuja Busia. We only have one court in Busia. The Port Victoria is yet to in Port Victoria and other stations. Whereby wanalias na wao hadi wanawaambia mtu ngoje kwa njia. Saa zile tunapeleka mahabusu tutawapatia lift.
But now you don't want to be facing the person that did the perpetration in the first
That
place.
is it.
Yes.
Yeah. So you see, you feel mtoto amekuwa abused, akona kesi yake, unajua sexual abuse vile inafunuanga mtu uchi, and then wana afande amebeba watu wake washtakiwa wengine wa pombe, wawezi, wanawekwa ndani wakiletwa court. You see, it is not a conducive environment for this child. So we normally liaise with the police officers who release bonds for the witnesses and the survivors, and they are designated persons that they request. Prior to the case, they request for transport facilitation and even a humble lunch to enable them travel to the court, plus the witnesses, plus the expert witnesses. You know, sometimes these expert witnesses have to go into their pockets to come and witness on behalf of a child. That is the investigating officer and the clinician.
The clinician, yes.
Yeah. So whenever we receive that kind of a request, we facilitate them to the court.
I thought the government has like a kitty for expert witnesses, because when you're talking about the investigating officer and also the clinician, all these are government officials.
Yes, and this is Kenya for us.
Okay.
It is very much on the paper than done.
Okay.
And you remember Maraga crying very loudly of the judiciary budget being cut. So they cannot even do a small meeting because their budget was extremely cut, and they just do what the routine. So we come in, we understand these things, and for us to hasten these cases, because they're supposed to take between 6 to 9 months, and most of them don't meet that threshold.
Okay.
So we provide this just to help them and motivate these witnesses. Unajua isikuwe ni kama kazi yangu ya kila siku, but ikuwe that there is somebody who appreciates the kind of evidence that I'm going to give for the sake of this child. So we don't look so much into what government gives, because sometimes it comes very late, and during that time maybe somebody has just given up going to court waiting for that reimbursement, which may come or not come.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. That is such a thoughtful venture, Flip, because nobody ever sits to imagine, I think we need to facilitate a witness, because first of all, like, a witness and the evidence is what determines the outcome of a case.
That is it.
So that is just hands up to you and whatever thing you're doing. And also to just commend you that you're also changing with the current challenges in health and wellness, because you said you started from HIV, and now you've moved to this SGBV, and also you're doing the coaching of boys into men. And I'm so much passionate about this coaching, and I just wish you would still just talk about it.
Yes.
What's the structure at FLEP? What's like the structure, the overall structure?
The organizational structure.
The structure of FLEP as it now works together with the justice system.
Okay, the organizational structure of FLEP. We have a board from the parish, constituted from the parish, and I can say the parish priest is the lead at the helm. Then we have a CEO. Then under the CEO, you have a full-fledged finance department with a number of finance officers. Then when you come to programs, we have a program coordinators coordinating different departments. We have monitoring and evaluation, the meal department. We have the household economic strengthening department, because as we give all these interventions, we still need to strengthen the economic part of the household. We have the child protection unit, now that's where we are, and HR, and a number of social workers, a number of CHVs, about 200, the 56 CPVs and 41 coaches. Yeah.
Okay. And then you said that you work with faith communities. For the sake of viewers still, would you care to mention to us like the number of faith communities that you're involved with? Because you said whether they go on Friday, Saturday or Sunday, but somebody might not have understood what you meant.
True.
Yes.
Faith communities is quite an ambiguous. Faith is very ambiguous.
Yes.
We are working with all faiths, be it Christians, Muslims, Hindus. Though Hindus are very reserved, they're not coming out. We are still looking for traditionalists. I don't know, they are also shy to come and proclaim their faith. So we are not just working within the boundaries of the Catholic Church, because no. We are going very wide to all faith communities, and we actually using their structures. Like you understand, we have the interfaith structures, we have the pastors fellowship, we have the ACK, the mothers union, the Catholic women, the fellowship groups, the youth, the PMC, Pontifical Missionary Children, and the Sunday schools. So we are not just working with our church only, but we are actually going out to you see, if it is a candle, when it lights everywhere, then we'll eliminate the darkness that we are fighting. But we've had a challenge with the African indigenous churches. The Roho Fwen, the Roho Mogik, the Roho Maler. Though we are cracking it kidogo, but I think they are not very open with other people who do not subscribe to their faith. So for us to get them even in our meeting for a sensitization, they are a bit shy. You know, this story of roho amenituma kwa mtoto. You understand? It is happening in some churches.
Yes.
So we want them to understand that roho does not perpetrate sexual violence. And just to understand, and you see, when you bring them and mix them with other evangelical churches, kunakuwa na kale ka showdown. So we get a bit of a problem bringing them on board, but we are still trying so that we penetrate their structures and we are able to do, even if it means doing a targeted intervention for them, so that they feel they understand their role, and they also understand why they perpetrate and why they also need to stop perpetrating. Okay.
So when you take these leaders and you congregate them in one place, and then you meet out this training or workshops or education or facilitation, whichever way you may want to call it, they're supposed to go back now to their communities. I mean their faith now communities. Do you do an overseeing, or do you go the extra mile of now attending their churches, or is there like some sort of scheduling that is done, that we have now trained this SDA person or this ACK and stuff, so we want to ensure that whatever these people have been trained in, we want to evidence of it being impacted in their church community?
Yes.
Do you do follow-ups?
We do follow-ups, and we do follow-ups with our CPVs.
Okay.
Once we call, for example, maybe I go to Butula sub-county and do a sensitization for interfaith team, maybe of 40 or 50, whatever.
Yes.
I invite the child protection volunteers from that area, so that in case there is need for them to do some linkages and referrals, it is not very costly. So what we've seen after these sensitizations, the faith leaders have come up and invited CPVs into their own churches and do congregational sensitization on their behalf.
Yes.
And I can proudly report that we've reached over 32,000 congregants.
That is in Busia
In
County.
Busia.
Nice.
And Makiu, we are just 1 year old. This project is just 1 year old. To me, I can say that is a very positive response from the participants of our sensitizations who happen to be faith leaders. And there is even a lot of demand. Sometimes you get a CPV has more than 4 sessions in a week in different churches. So to me, I think we should go and cover the biggest number of faith leaders, because once we saturate that, then messaging will be very easy for us than waiting for a chief's baraza where people don't attend. Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to ask you one controversial question. I don't know if it's controversial, but there are sentiments out there that churches need to now start certifying their pastors, their priests, men of God that are in charge of the congregation. Do you feel that is needful? Like, should it be done?
In my opinion, it is very important because we really need to identify who and where and what, as far as a faith leader is concerned, because this is a person who reaches out to a big population of people. So it is just good for them to be documented well. I don't see any fear. I don't know why people are running away from such like from that idea. You
know, because sometimes you get like in most are they Protestants? Should I call them Protestants?
They call them evangelical. They call themselves evangelical.
Those were SGBVs, what to make Uganda. So they are in church, and then there is one that is like very spiritual. Akishika microphone, maybe when they do praise and worship, like the whole church just falls down and stuff. So then politics come into the church, and then they break out. Unasikia mimi nimeenda kwanza kanisa yangu, and maybe you get this one is just a 30-year-old or a 40-year-old with just a KCSE certificate. They have not done theology. They have not gone for any Bible course, but they have the power to influence the spiritual component in followers, in worshippers. So like, should they go through some kind of training before they are made now leaders of churches? That is what I'm asking.
Yes, to me, if you ask me, they must. They must go through a training. One, to understand how to handle populations. Yes. Because most of us don't understand how to handle populations. And also to just to be known for documentation purposes, because a lot of things are happening in churches, and once you are not able to be identified with what you subscribe to, then to me I think it is more of just a controversy, because Onana, if this is what I like and this is what I serve the population through, then it is just good that you are identified by that what you do. And you see, today we are saying that we want all faith institutions to subscribe to child protection protocols and standards and even policies. You see, unless you identify them, because in that situation you'll need to be documented that you promise that you'll subscribe to this, you'll do this and you'll not do that, and when you do this will be happen against you. So kama haujulikani, how will you even develop one for your church? It is not easy. So who they reach to? They reach out to,
Okay. So as we wind up the show, Irene, thank you so much for the information that you've put out there. But I just want you to repeat for the viewers, what FLEP does in relation to SGBV. Now, kwa ule mtu mwenye ako huko mashinani kabisa, you just say that you do facilitation for witness logistics, and also unajua right now there is the most challenging thing is the kangaroo court, because people now are like, we are too poor, hatuwezi to afford justice and stuff, so vitu zinamaliziwa tu huko kwa msitu. So one last time, just speak into that camera, like what should a parent do, a custodian, a guardian to somebody that has gone through SGBV. Give them the hope that their child or the person that is under their care actually has a shot at getting justice and getting it right and fairly.
Thank you, Onana.
Yes.
To my viewers, to the viewers of today, a child is a very delicate human being. And to me, I normally say when a child is born on factory settings. So all these other things that happen are actually acquired. So if you are a caregiver and a parent to a child, one, you have to know your child well, to create a friendly environment so that these children can open up to you.
Yes.
We are currently struggling that our children are not telling us who impregnated them. Why? Because we never learned to listen and provide solutions to a smaller thing. Kwa kitu kidogo kama mama nimejigonga, and you are like not providing, toka uende ucheze, you are not providing any solution to that child. So, you know, ikikuwa ni habit, they stop coming because you'll never provide any solution. That is why many are pregnant and they're not saying, they're not disclosing who impregnated them. So we should have big ears, big eyes with a very small mouth,
yes,
so that children can feel comfortable around us. This is to village elders and any person staying near a village elder. Ligurus. Sexual perpetration or sexual abuse cases are not listened to by Ligurus or chiefs baraza or anything.
They are not experts.
If you do so, you will be charged also as somebody who did what?
Aiding and abetting.
Who aided that perpetrator to do so.
Yes.
So if anybody comes to you with a ng'ombe or mbuzi so that you can you become the judge or magistrate of that kangaroo court, run away, piga nduru, because utashikwa.
Yeah.
And for the people taking care of children who have been who are survivors, who have been abused sexually, one, assure the child that it is not her mistake. Somebody took advantage of her. Two, make that information very confidential, because the moment we start sambazaring it at border stands and town centers, the perpetrators get opportunity to run away.
And it's even just re-traumatizing.
And it re-traumatizes the child, and some of them even become suicidal. Yeah. And three, do not interrupt a child when she's narrating about sexual violence. If anything, assure that child that you've believed in each and everything that child has told you. Then that will help them to talk, to open up more, and even develop that confidence that she's not only been rejected by that perpetrator, but there is somebody who can listen and provide a solution and give an ear and even some help. So if it happens sometimes back, some come to report kama mimba imeshapatikana, just go to the police. Then police will send you to the hospital. But if it is fresh, it just happened yesterday night, yeah? Oh, usiku ya leo. Don't go to the police. Run to the hospital so that you get prevention of infections and pregnancies and so forth, and as well as extracting some evidence that can help link to the perpetrator.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Irene. That was such an illustration and such a comprehensive explanation on basically what to do when you get these cases. This has been Wonder Woman Sugapepper. I've been your host, Onana Afulo. Next week, we are going still back to Busia Locals. We shall be talking to Catherine in the office of the Director of Public Prosecution, because it was supposed to be a 5-part series, but we are looping in the prosecution because we have seen there was some element that was missing still from last shows and even today's show. So we shall still be talking to the prosecution, who will now give us also an insight in the fight against sexual and gender-based violence. So stay hopeful, keep putting on your mask, keep social distancing, sanitize whenever and wherever you can. Thank you for tuning in. God bless you. Thank you for using your bundles to stream, and also share this video widely, because all of us are in this fight against sexual and gender-based violence. This has been your host, Onana, and from Miss Irene, we say bye and see you next Wednesday. Thank you.